very distinguished speakers with us today. It's hard to decide who's going to go first, but I'm just going to go by alphabetical order, or ladies first. Isa is going to be our very first speaker. I want to say a few things about Isa Lê. She starts involving with the art activism in 2000 when she volunteers for VAALA, which is Vietnamese American Arts and Letters Association, a non-profit organization. Since then, she has produced and co-produced many events such as Đặng Thái Sơn Piano Recital, Little Saigon Book Fair, FOB, a multi-art show, Cinema Symposium 1, and most recently, Vietnamese International Film Festival in 2003. Since 2001, Isa has been hosting Vòng Trời Văn học nghệ thuật, a program on VNCR 106.3 FM, weekly reporting art events in the community, and she's always interviewing the artists. She received the Arts and Culture Award from New California Media in 2003 for her article on Mini News reporting the revival of traditional performing art, cải lương, in the Vietnamese community. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Isa Lê.
Thank you, Trước hết thì Isa xin gửi lời chào tất cả các quý vị đến với Vietnamese Professional Society Conference ngày hôm nay, và chắc là mọi người không biết là hôm nay trong tinh thần như thế nào và có sẵn sàng để coi những thước phim hay chưa. Mà trước hết thì let me introduce myself first. My name is Isa, and as Nguyen indicated, I am the co-festival director of the Vietnamese International Film Festival with 2005. Và thưa quý vị là Isa muốn bắt đầu cái cuộc nói chuyện của Isa bằng một lời nói của một đạo diễn trẻ, đó là đạo diễn Victor Vũ. I just want to start my talk today with a quote from Victor Vũ, the filmmaker who did First Morning and Spirits. Those two features are right now circulating in the film festival circuit. I just want to show the humanity of the Vietnamese because for the longest time we are not characters in films. Okay, so have you seen any films lately about Vietnamese? Platoon, Apocalypse Now, those are old films, but we are background people. Có những cái phim của Hollywood đã từng làm rất là vĩ đại và về đề tài Việt Nam. Tuy nhiên, những người Việt Nam của chúng ta chỉ là những người đứng phía sau, những người phụ mà thôi. Thì Isa nghĩ là cái câu nói này cũng là một trong những cái inspiration, một trong những cái lực đẩy để mà chúng tôi thực hiện Đại hội Điện ảnh Việt Nam Quốc tế, Vietnamese International Film Festival. This is one of the reasons, one of the inspirations that drive us to make VIF. Next, please. But before talking about VIF, I'd like to talk about the two organizations that were involved, that organized VIF. Is the Vietnamese American Arts and Letters Association, VALA, V-A-A-L-A, and the Vietnamese Language and Culture. I've been involved with VALA for more than 4 years, and just as a volunteer. And it's an art organization that was formed in 1991 by a group of journalists and writers and artists in OC, in Orange County, back in 1991. We did a lot of recitals, book signings, Little Saigon Book Fair in 2001, Đặng Thái Sơn recital. We did a lot of cultural talks, and this is one of the cultural talks about the bronze drum, chống đồng, và đây là một trong những activity của VALA. Next, please. And Professor Nguyễn Châu was talking about Duc Nguyen, the lute, which is one of the activities VALA as well. Next. And in 2002, we had a multi-art show that involved 40 artists younger than 40 years old. And it's called FOB, the Multi-Art Show, FOB, the Multi-Art Show. And it deals with the identity as well as culture of the second and 1.5 generation of Vietnamese Americans. And it was a 2-week event, and a lot of people attended the event. I think it's about 2,000, about close to 2,000 people attended the event, all throughout the 2 weeks. Next, please. And so, looking at the activities that Vala has produced, there's one thing that we have never touched until 2001. It was the cinema art form, the cinematic. So we're thinking, we have book signings, we have all kind of arts, we have all art exhibitions, but what about films? What about films? At that time, we had 3 seasons, which won 3 awards from Sundance Film Festival by Tony Bouy. We had Janet Holmes from France, who did Stand Up Green Papaya, Mududu Sang, and it won the Cannes Film Festival Award for Young Director. And we had, basically we have a few films, notable films. And so I start, because I work for VNCR, hosting the Vòng Chinh Chơi Văn hóa nghệ thuật, the Art Horizon program. So I get in touch and I contact some of the filmmakers up. And at that time, Timothy Linh Bui, he sit on the left-hand side, far end. I asked him for an interview because he was about to release Green Dragon, Phim Truyện Dòng Xanh. And he came to the interview, and you can see the whole passion. He's so passionate about filmmaking, about telling the stories. And I don't know how many of you have seen the film Green Dragon? Okay. So at that time, also another director came out with a comedy feature. It's Duc Nguyen, and you probably know him by if you saw Thời Vũ Hồng Phương thứ 18, then that's the same director. And he came out with Chances Are, a comedy, Vật Nổi Sao Rời. It's about a Vietnamese American who went back home to get married. But so I got together a few filmmakers, and from them I know there's some more filmmakers and some actors. So I said, hey, let's form a symposium so people can learn more about your projects, about your passion. They're also passionate, and so we formed Cinema Symposium. And at that time, we got contact with the Vietnamese Language and Culture, VNLC, who is a student-based organization at UCLA. And they helped us, they put together this event at UCLA with us. So Vala and VNLC start this first project, and I think it's so important to involve VNLC, who is a student organization, into the art projects. And so the students can learn about the area as well as the community, the people from the community can come and enjoy as well. So the first Cinema Symposium was held at UCLA in April 2002. And we invited 9 speakers, but unfortunately, one of them didn't get shown in this picture. Timothy Linh Bui, Thanh Trúc from the left. Nguyễn Võ Như Minh just finished his first feature. It's called Buffalo Boy, and the Vietnamese title is Mùa Lan Chiêu. And it's just won the award for the young directors at the Chicago International Film Festival. And of course, Cô Kiều Trinh, Victor Vũ, Katie Lương, Charlie Nguyen, and Billy Jen. And the person who didn't get shown here is Lâm Nguyen, producer Lâm Nguyen. So they talk about in front of and behind the lens. So we had about 200 people attended the event, and everyone after the event was so excited, and they all asked, what's next? We didn't even dare to label it Cinema Symposium 1, because we don't know if there's any 2. So what's next, what's next? So what's next? The film festival came about. So next please. And it was a crazy idea, I thought at first, but Jim, at that time, I invited Jim to be the film festival director, the festival director for VIF. Jim Le is also the curator for the FOP multi-art show that I talked about earlier. And so the two of us thought we probably just collected maybe 10 films, and we probably called our friends around, like Timothy or Tony, hey, do you guys have any short films, thesis films that you can submit? And guess what? It turned out that we have more than 70 submissions, well, including invitationals, about 10 invitationals. And we screened 48 films by 40 directors, and they are from France, Australia, mostly from the US, of course, and Australia, France, Canada, yeah. And we have more than 4,000 people attending the festival. That includes the symposium, the galas, the opening and closing, all the activities that happen at VIF in 8 days, from October 23rd through November 2nd. And we showed films throughout 2 weekends, mostly at the University of Irvine, University of California at Irvine, UCI, and some of the screenings were done at the Vietnamese community room, and some of the talks were done at Vietnam community room. So we spread it out, but most of the screenings were at UCI. So, and the Audience Choice Award for Best Short Films went to The Anniversary by Hampton and Passage of Light by Duc Nguyen. These are voted by the audience, and we count the vote, and we average it out at the end. And it was a surprise that we had a tie, so we had to buy 2 trophies at the end, the last minute. It was fun. It was fun. So next, please. Oh, by the way, today is the first anniversary of VIF. Exactly on 1 year. So this it's just I just remember. And the youngest filmmaker is 17 years old, so he couldn't even attend our dance at Majestic. And his film was shown at the Los Angeles Film Festival a couple of months ago. 17 years old. He was attending high school then. And the oldest is 72 years old from France, a black woman from France. With the home. The median age is, I found that 24 to 30 years old. I think there's a wave of younger generation of filmmakers. While Tony and Tim were born in the 70s, I don't want to disclose about age, but just keep it in this group. And I found that there are more like younger generation, the younger generation who were born after 80s, and they like films, they go into films. So it's very encouraging. And we only have 8 female filmmakers. So I want to see this number increase next time. Next, please. And this is one of the, this is outside of the screening area. We have, is this at UCI? Is that Ming? Thank you for coming to the next, please. And some highlights of it, we have the opening night, which we did at the Edward Cinema on the University Drive near UCI campus. And we showed 6 short films, and we had a opening night gala follow the screening. We have closing night and award ceremony at UCI, and then we also have an honoring night for Ko Kyu Jin with Lifetime Achievement Award, and Tony Bui presented the award. And we have a special screening night we call Spotlight on Emerging Director. Last year we had one for Victor Wu, who just did his feature debut this first morning. And actually tomorrow, first morning will be shown at the staff is what is staff? The San Diego Asian Film Festival tomorrow at 5 p.m. So if you can catch the film, please do. And special programs for high schoolers and senior citizens. We have a day we call High School Day, and we have a day that we call Senior Citizens, where we have free screenings for these 2 groups. Next, please. And this is the Q&A section at the opening night on October 23rd at the Edward Cinema. Next. Another VIF at night. Next, please. These are the volunteers We all run by volunteers. Nobody got paid yet. Next, please. This is the spotlight night when Victor Wu and his cast and crew presented first morning. It was one of the sold out screening nights. Next, please. This is a screening at the Viet community room. This is one of the animations by Duc Nguyen from Virginia. Next, please. Another Q&A section, and the Q&As are bilingual, so we have translators, and it's really fun to see all the filmmakers in actions. Next, please. Honoring nights for Duc Nguyen, Tony Bui standing far left, and we show within Không Kiên Dung, which was produced by Kiều Jing herself, and she also acts as a leading role in the film. Next, please. Victor Wu and his cast and crew at Q&A section after first morning. Next, please. All right, this is not real. This is just cinema. Billy Bulam and Lâm Nguyen. This is the workshop that was done at Viet for the high schoolers to show Ham Tran is the director who's gave the talk, and he's filming the two stuntmen or actors. Next, please. VIF, we found out that VIF can attract a lot of different age groups, senior citizens as well as students' age, because films itself has a universal language and it's mass art. You don't have to spend like a whole bunch of money to buy a piece of art. You just can spend like $9 now to go see a movie. So next, please. Isn't she beautiful? Is Katie Look, our rising star. She had a leading role in First Morning and Spirits as well. Next, please. Well, equal opportunities, I have to show some hosts at VIF. Victor Wu and Minh Chi. Minh Chi is, he did the stuntman work for Spider-Man 2. Next, please. And this is the cast and crew. This is Anthony Nguyen, the youngest filmmaker that I talked about, and his actress. And these are the volunteers and filmmakers. Yeah. So hopefully we will have a lot of smiles with the next VIF 2005 in April next year. Please mark on your calendar, April 7 through April 10. Sorry. I guess time's up. But to prepare for VIF, we have Cinema Symposium 2. We decided to do Cinema Symposium biannually and VIF biannually. So this year we don't have VIF, so we'll have Cinema Symposium 2 coming up on November 7 at UCLA. And this time we also invited 9 panelists, and we also show short films, 4 of the short films. And if you want more information, please visit our website, www.vipfilmfest.com. And so to hype everybody up for VIF 2005, I'd like to show the trailer for VIF 2005.
final cut, I started crying, you know, because it was such an emotional performance for me. It's sort of breathing life into your characters. It's seeing what you saw in your head on the screen, and it makes that, it translates.
I went to Vietnam 2 years ago. After September 11th, I decided, you know what, I want to go to Vietnam and discover like where I came from. Because I was born in America, and that was really an eye-opener for me.
Incorporating all the traditions and the stories that were told and brought down by relatives and family, making this film, this Vietnamese ghost story. It was almost a journey of self-discovery.
I think film's a perfect way to open people's eyes as much as possible. I feel like it's really important to the story arc too.
We have about 5 minutes for a question and answer session. I think after viewing this and listening to Issa's talk, you probably have a good idea or a good feeling about how our Vietnamese filmmaking is progressing and how the future is bright ahead of us. Any question for Issa about VIFF or anything about filmmaking from the Vietnamese Americans here?
Yes, we got.
What's the question?
I'm just wondering where you're getting your funding from or financial backing.
We got our funding from mostly private donation and also in-kind donation from the media. And we did our fundraising concert at La Vera Theater a few months before VIF. And yeah, that's how we got the funding.
Tôi thấy rằng là trong cái chiều dài lịch sử của người Việt lưu vong sau 1975 đó, thì hầu hết có thể nói là có 1 triệu người đã rời khỏi Việt Nam, và thì cũng như là hầu hết là thuyền nhân hoặc là đi bộ. Như vậy trong 48 phim mà được tham dự cái Vietnamese International Film Festival, thì có cái phim nào mà nói về cái quá trình người Việt lưu vong, có những thảm cảnh giống như là bị cướp biển hoặc là chết trên biển, hoặc là những người bị mental crisis in trại câm sau khi mà chương trình CPA nó ra. Có cái phim giống như là Green Dragon, nhưng mà đó cũng không nói lên hết tất cả những cái tragedy mà người Việt lưu vong đã gặp phải trong suốt quá trình vượt biển hoặc là đi bộ qua những quốc gia giống như là Cambodia, Thái Lan hoặc là Philippines.
Dạ. Trong 48 phim thì có rất là nhiều đề tài khác nhau. 48 phim này là phim vừa phim feature, phim dài, phim ngắn nữa. Phim ngắn nhất là 2 phút, phim dài nhất thì là phim feature. Thì có những phim nó nói về cái đề tài của người tị nạn chúng ta, mà dĩ nhiên là những cái thảm cảnh trên biển. Có lẽ là vì cái budget còn chưa cho phép, nhưng mà chúng tôi biết được là có đạo diễn Việt Nam muốn thực hiện điều đó, đó là đạo diễn Trần Quang Hàm hay là Hàm Trần, và là người đã đạt giải Best Short Film vừa rồi. Thì riêng trong cái đại hội điện ảnh vừa rồi có đạo diễn Victor Vũ với cái phim Buổi sáng đầu năm, tức là First Morning, đã nói về những cái mà một gia đình Việt Nam khi mà phải trải qua trên biển như là gia đình Boat People đó, họ đã trải qua những gì, họ phải deal với những cái đó như thế nào trong cuộc sống sau khi họ đã đến được cái đất nước tự do. Thì cái bộ phim đó một cách khéo léo, vì một cái nhân khoản rất là eo hẹp, thì một cách khéo léo thì Victor Vũ đã diễn lại cái thảm trạng đó mà một cái gia đình như vậy, một cô gái trẻ nhân vật chính là Linh phải đương đầu với cái sự khó khăn trong đời sống sau khi trải qua những cái thảm trạng như vậy trên đường biển. Thì đó là cái tiêu đề của cuốn phim First Morning của đạo diễn Victor Vũ. Và chúng tôi nghĩ là đề tài của người Việt chúng ta rất là nhiều, mặc dù Viết không có đòi hỏi là đạo diễn phải có đề tài về Việt Nam hay là về con người Việt Nam, mà chúng tôi khuyến khích, chúng tôi không có thể giới hạn về nghệ sĩ được, tôi khuyến khích với tất cả các đề tài đạo diễn đều có thể nộp và tham dự Viết được. Tuy nhiên những đề tài của Việt Nam thì còn rất là nhiều, như là vị khán giả đây có đề cập đến, và trong tương lai thì chúng tôi nghĩ là sẽ còn những phim đào sâu về những đề tài này hơn.
Mình thấy thì cái statistic này chị Isa đưa ra rất là interesting về cái International Film Festival, thì có khoảng 48 phim được stream, và cái người trẻ nhất mà làm phim là 17 tuổi và người già nhất là 72 tuổi. Thì cái đó cho chúng ta thấy một điều là tài không đợi tuổi, và không có ai là già quá để mà làm phim hết. Mình thấy cái đó là very impressive for cộng đồng Việt Nam của chúng ta qua bên, và từ xưa đến giờ văn hóa của mình không có nhấn mạnh, mình không có đề cao, hoặc là cha mẹ không có khuyến khích con cái đi học về những cái ngành điện ảnh, nhưng mà 48 films, that's very encouraging.
Thank you. Và cũng muốn xin nói thêm nữa là từ này vẫn tiếp tục. We want to continue VIF. It's because we find out that VIF can bridge gaps, generation gaps. We have people who are elderly who come to VIF and enjoy Green Driving 3 seasons. We show back to back the two films. Từ này là chiếu 2 phim cùng một lúc mà nghĩ là 4 tiếng đồng hồ ai sẽ xem. Ai sẽ xem những cụ 70 mấy tuổi đã ngồi trong rạp và xem cả 2 phim đó. Và chúng tôi đã thấy là VIF có khả năng mà đưa nhiều khán giả tới với nhau, thuộc nhiều lứa tuổi, để mà từ đó có thể tạo được sự cảm thông. We open more communication, not just between the artist and the audience, but also among the audience themselves. So we want to continue VIF so much because of that reason as well.
Xin thay mặt tất cả anh chị em ở đây rất là cảm ơn chị Isa đã cho cái đề tài bữa nay rất là thú vị, và please join me in giving a grand
Chúng tôi có một số catalog của Đại hội Điện ảnh năm ngoái, và xin nhờ ban tổ chức phát dùm. Và nếu mà quý vị nào mà muốn tham gia volunteer được thì là có phim gửi cho Isa, good for Mike, are you ready? I'll get you guys later. Actually, Duc gave me his short film already. So nếu mà anh chị có câu hỏi nào thêm thì xin gặp Isa sau buổi này. Xin cảm ơn ban tổ chức và xin cảm ơn quý vị khán giả.
Kế tiếp chúng tôi xin muốn giới thiệu một người diễn giả khác, cũng trong cái vấn đề entertainment, Vietnamese Americans in entertainment, nhưng mà cái khía cạnh totally different. Chúng tôi xin giới thiệu tới anh Duc Nguyen. Anh Duc Nguyen holds a bachelor degree in mass communications from the University of California at Berkeley. He has more than 10 years of experience in the entertainment and television industries. From 1997 to 2000, Duc worked as an interactive television program producer for GTE Main Street. His work enabled the internet to be delivered through cable television. In 2001, he produced mediated reality a documentary about Cuba in the age of Elian Gonzalez. And in 2003, Duc Nguyen served as an assistant editor for the New Americans and My Journey Home, multi-part series on family and identities. These programs follow different people throughout the world as they search for the place called home. The show airs nationally on VPS, March and April of 2004. Currently, Duc is producing Bolinao 52, a documentary about Vietnamese boat people. Please join me in welcoming Duc Nguyen.
Thank you. First, I'd like to say thank you to the programmers of VPS and Nguyen. She's helpful to call me, like midnight in Houston and ask me what I need at the conference, like that, and I felt really welcome here with everyone. And I thought I'd come to a really professional conference where it's just real tight and things like that. And people took me out last night dancing and drinking. Anyways, it was a total surprise. I'm really happy about that. And this is my first time, and I'm gonna kind of get tuned up into the Vietnamese Professional Society, and I know what it's all about now. Okay, so I really want to begin by showing a trailer of my film, The Bolinao 52. And it's a film which is dear to my heart, because Nguyen kind of mentioned this. I'm also a boat person. I came here when I was teenagers. And, it's a very similar story to mine, but the outcome is still different. My family got rescued by a U.S. Navy ship, and this particular story, a boat that encountered a U.S. Navy ship but did not get rescued, and the end result is a little bit different, a little bit more dramatic than mine. So I'd like to start with that. Well, it's finding its way on the screen. I can fill you in a little bit more detail about it. This story surfaces on the news in 1989, and it made it to 60 Minutes on CBS.
I was born in Vietnam during the war, but when people ask me where do I come from, I tell them South China Sea, April 28, 1980. My family and I escaped with more than 100 other refugees in a 30-foot wooden boat. After 4 days at sea, our water was contaminated with petroleum and our food soiled. We inches toward our death. Then, a U.S. patrol plane flew over. Moments later, a Navy ship appeared on the horizon. It was a new day for me and my family. Riders on the storm. Riders of the storm, into this house we're born, into this world we're born. Like a dog without a bone, an actor out alone. Riders of the storm.
Vietnamese set out in a small boat, hoping to gain their freedom. Before it was over, they would spend 37 days at sea. Only 52 of the 110 would survive. In the middle of their desperate voyage, the refugees crossed paths with a U.S. Navy ship on its way to the Persian Gulf. What happened during that 2-hour encounter would alter forever the lives of those involved. On the small boat, the Vietnamese, starving with nothing to drink, would eventually resort to cannibalism. On the Navy ship, a captain who had earned a Silver Star and Purple Heart in Vietnam, a 25-year veteran who would end up facing a court-martial, Captain Alex Bailey.
The case was known as the Bolinao 52, and the name Alex Bailey brings a dissonance to my senses. I always associate U.S. sailors as my heroes, my saviors. But this man who refused to rescue the refugees became a thorn on my side. His action reminded me of the Vietnamese boat people's agony, the story of the unwanted. So I came to a decision of retracing the survivors and witnesses of the Bolinao 52. But the heart of the matter is, I want to face Bailey. I didn't exactly find Bailey, but in the process, I located Duc Nguyen, a witness for the rebuke. His testimony, hopefully, will bring the truth closer to light.
I was on the USS Dubuque.
Sorry about that. That's one of those technical difficulties. It's always can't do it. It's constantly sorry about that. But anyways, you got a pretty good idea of what the film is about. And yeah, so actually I'm just going to go into talking about the reason I'm doing the film and talk about. I prepared this speech, maybe 30 minutes long, and I found out I don't have 10 minutes. So I was just like, speech away, so let's talk about a few things. The reason I want to make this film is, like I told you personally, it's a story that really I know firsthand because I was there, I was faced in the situation with these people, but it's also a story that resonates the dilemma that Vietnamese boat people face, and it was just, they are the unwanted people. That continues today, like Ho works reflects in other people, artists' work today. And it's a story that needs to be told. And it's a story like many other people, like one of the guests here spoke about, it's like there's a story that not many people willing to talk about or heard about, because I guess there's a reason for that. One reason is a lot of survivors are not willing to talk about that. And on the other hand, not many filmmakers want to touch this subject matter because it's sensitive in a way. So that's the two reasons. And the third reason is like I felt there's a need for Vietnamese American image in society of many different races and ethnic groups, and also looking toward the future generations is I felt there's a need to create historical documents and stories that tell our experience, how some of us came here to the United States. So those are some of the reasons I did. I want to start making this project happen. And also linked to what Isa was talking about is one of the things that 1.5 generations and second generation sort of struggle with the issues is identity. We are a very new immigrant group in this country, and one of the very important, crucial aspect in our community building is just our identity. We have to create an identity that we can be recognized and empowered through the identity. And part of the identity creation is creating image that reflects us, who we are, versus images created by other people. And so far, Vietnamese history or Vietnamese American history are being portrayed through American military, soldiers, GIs, and mostly American artists. So as a Vietnamese American filmmaker, as a Vietnamese American artist, I feel a need to create a voice, an image that reflects more of what we feel inside. One of the themes that I find, and I got some quotes from other writers, is just that writers of Vietnamese descent who left Vietnam as older children or young adolescents are beginning to receive tensions. And that theme often speaking about rich culture between Vietnamese and American. And most of these themes come through as a bridge between two cultures, living in two worlds with two separate languages, rules, and culture. And the quote that is so true to most of these artists that move a between. And the move between is sort of like a very common theme, and I found that it's a very theme that I myself identify with, because I speak English, I think English, but I still retain my Vietnamese identity through some kind of means, and that becomes a very crucial theme for the generation, 1.5 generation, and second generation of Vietnamese, because of course we live in this society, and we kind of have a lot of issue dealing with two separate set of values that somehow we kind of have to come up with some sort of solution to ease those kind of conflicts. So I feel like as the role of a professional filmmaker, we need to address these issues, because by addressing these issues, we can identify with our concerns and things that we, that it's something that reflects who we are. And I identify a lot with that. So one of the reasons I chose to do this film is to bridge that gap of not being able to speak out, and be able to speak out in a way that that make people understand how our conditions, our feeling, and who we are, our characteristics. And like Lisa was mentioning, I think Bruce quote earlier, which is so far Vietnamese American or Vietnamese images on the mainstream media, mainly in the background. You hardly see any real characteristic of Vietnamese being characterized truly on mainstream media. And I think one of the reasons is just this lack of media made by Vietnamese Americans, and it's a very difficult medium to get in, but also it's very powerful in a way, because the medium allows people to identify with very close knit associations. And I think the important thing about creating images, like once you create a personal story, when you make it personal, people will associate with your personal story more closely. And with this medium, it's something that you can't really do with a lot of other medium, because it's multi-level. It's you have the sound, you have exciting, and you have music, and you have this different levels where that kind of bring that universal humanity, and that's I think that's a very important theme in creative work, because it not only reach within our community, but it reach the greater community, which is a multicultural world that we live in. And I also, on the local perspective, I think just projecting our voice is a civic duty as a professional, as a Vietnamese professional. Just speak about our issues, our history, the thing that goes on in our head is a very important duty, because it allows other people to identify it with it, and also it provides a cultural context that defines who we are. And these are things that are very valuable for future education, because there's a lack of material that used in schools for Asian American history, much less Vietnamese American history. And for example, Mr. Michael Masuda, who's one of the speakers that will speak, I believe, tomorrow over here, he emphasized on incorporating Vietnamese American history into the curriculum in schools. And I think that's a very, very important task to do in order to educate the future generations and strengthen the community, because we need to bring that into the educational system and increase more the visibility of Vietnamese American through media and all that. And but there's some obstacle, and there's some obstacle ahead. And one of it is limited amount of materials, limited knowledge about story and different teaching material. There's a lack of that, and there's a lack of participations from general community members too. And Mr. Michael Masuda has also mentioned it is to involve the community. One of the tasks that we really want to do with this project is to involve community leaders and parents in getting their voices, become active in civil actions, try to incorporate some of these, or get our demand heard and our voice heard about, our history and the things that are really important to us. So that's all I have to talk about for today. I want to open it up for questions.
I am leading documentary on Vietnamese University life, and one of the things that I'm facing right now is trying to actually edit the film, finish that thing, because I have about 3 hours to finish, but all these kind of edits, because as a college student, I'm so busy. So what would you suggest for me to do to make both? What are some more suggestions that I should do to, I guess, work on this project?
If I can understand your question, is you having a problem dealing with editing?
Yeah, it's not no time to do it.
Oh, yeah, no time to do that. Get someone else to do it. That's a good, good choice. No, like my first film, I did everything myself. Of course, we never have enough time to do anything. But if you're passionate enough about it, you get it done. You either. One of the things that a lot of people say is a filmmaker has to know how to beg, borrow, and steal. So, especially when you're independent filmmakers like me, I self-funded my project and everything. So, whatever you can get for free, do it. It's just not. Don't be, shy or be bashful about things, because if you don't ask, you don't get. So that's a key element in filmmaking. It's collaborative art. It's not like painting. You can sit in your room and paint a beautiful picture. You need other, you need, director of photography, you need, sound, things like that. So it's really difficult to do it all by yourself. So my suggestion is to collaborate and to, exactly what I'm doing today, publicize about your project, talk about your project, and there are people out there interested in your project and will participate.
How long does it take you to produce such a show? And was it the work of a team or just yourself?
Well, this piece I started in 2002. I actually I started researching in 1998, 1999. I found the story and I did some more research, but I didn't actually get into the production of it until 2002. And I first found out about the guy just came on. He's one of the witnesses from the USS Duc, and I found him through another captain who rescued a 70s Vietnamese refugee in 1982. And he's been really helpful. He's a consultant, he's an advisor on my team. So it's a team effort, as much as the effort that I put into it. And I like to use the analogy, it's just, I'm just a pusher. This project is just like, a wall or something that's just pushed. When they pick up momentum, you gather other people involved and things like that. So, that's what it took for me to come to this point.
How much money you spend on that?
I spent approximately $25,000 throughout the years because I spent a lot of money into research. Because a lot of these archival materials came from U.S. military, and they have a lot of them, and it took a while for me to find out where they at, go get them, and that. So, that's about as much money that I spent so far.
Do you have any more questions? We have the rest of the next trailer to show. If you're interested, we have another 5 minutes to show you. Thank you very much.
Thanks. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, that's it.
When people ask me where do I come,
I apologize.
so I came to a decision of retracing the survivors and witnesses of the Bolinao 52. But the heart of the matter is, I want to face Alien. I didn't exactly find Bailey, but in the process, I located Bill Kluman, a witness of the rebuke. His testimony, hopefully, will bring the truth closer to light.
I was on the USS Dubuque, LPD-8, reported assassination in Japan. We were on our way to Persian Gulf under, I believe it was called Operation Free Will. That's back in about 1988 when the foreign flag tankers were being hit by Iranian missiles and attacked by gunboats and things like that. So, we went on our way. And I don't remember exactly how many days out of the Philippines that we encountered the Bolinao 52. I wasn't on watch or anything, so I wasn't privy to anything on the bridge that was said. But my way of thinking, we stayed where the boat was, So the captain did put a motor whale boat in the water with a crew. The executive officer, a young ICFN fireman by the name of Pham, who was Vietnamese by extraction, and he was to be the interpreter. We did lend them some assistance. We gave them some rations every night. I think we had beef stew for lunch that day. And the cooks put it in plastic bags. More whaleboat came back. They put the plastic bags in the local whaleboat. The plastic bag broke. So we had beef stew all over the small boat. I was down on the well deck at that time. And then I looked over there and saw one of the Vietnamese drowned. He had started swimming from the small boat to the ship.
You actually saw him drown.
Yes, I did.
And no one saved him.
They didn't throw him a life ring or anything. When he was drowning, he was floundering about. He was drowning. One of the refugees tried to come on board using the monkey line. And Captain Bailey did give the order to shake him off the line. I saw him get shaken off the line. I saw somebody shaking the line. I did not see him drown, but I assume he did. I don't think the word kill is the right word. I think the right word would be is we let him die without aiding and assisting, which is totally against the laws of the sea. If I saw the survivor, what would I want to say? I'd have to say, I'm sorry. That's about all I can say. But I would, I'd be happy that, there's some of them did survive. I'm very happy about that. But having known what happened on the boat later, before they were finally rescued, I feel real bad about it. And I feel very, very anxious about being, if I met any of the survivors.
While Cronin's testimony proves that the captain is in the wrong, his wish to meet the survivors again is an important indication for my journey. So instead of charging down the lane searching for Bailey, I switched my course to find the survivors instead. Perhaps reconnecting them would help heal the wound. Nevertheless, what happened to the Bolinao the days after still haunts me.
After the Dubuque left, and because of the promise that they would be picked up in a couple of days, the refugees stayed in place and ate up all the food. Within days, the food was gone, and the terror began again. And in addition to the terror of starvation, there was another terror. A former South Vietnamese soldier named Minh took control of the junk, seizing the remaining food and rainwater and beating the other refugees. The soldiers who controlled the boat came looking for someone near death to kill for food. The Quang was taken to the back of the boat and drowned, with the flesh to be distributed to the people aboard the junk.
What did they do then with the bodies?
They used a knife to cut it in pieces, and then they boiled it in seawater. All of us were starving, so we had to eat something to save our lives. If we didn't eat human flesh, we would die. I don't want to be reminded anymore about that trip.
Not to be reminded is the standing wish of many refugees. But my mission is to tell the public our pain. So instead of getting to the topic, I keep circling around the subject, unable to board the question. How do I get to the wound without stirring more pain? But for me, the question remains, why men like Bailey were instructed to avoid destitute people like us?